LifeSpeak podcast sponsored by Chafin Real Estate Services. Looking to make your next move? You're in the right place. Welcome to LifeSpeaks, the podcast that dives deep into real stories, big ideas, and life-changing insights. Visit chafinrealestate.com or call 775-575-5000 today.
Thank you for joining us. Today's episode of Life Speaks, we are joining Angela and Jeanna again to continue on with the Reno Miracle Baby story. And thank you again for joining me. I love this story. I love where we're going in this. So continue on. This is She's Here.
Yeah, it was. We left off in a cliffhanger moment.
Yes.
As far as she had arrived, and now what happens? There was a little glimmer of hope because of the neonatologist was going to try, but we were still, the scenario where we hold her, and is she even alive? And I just knew she had come. I was like, honey, she's here, and we just, next level. We were already ugly crying, but this is the next level, and just a fog, because it's like, this is our worst nightmare. This is it right now, our worst nightmare. She's here, and we sit with her till she dies or she's not even alive. And this is where the grieving begins.
Right.
And I'm looking at my husband. We're just crying, not really sure what's going to happen. Like, what happens now? Like, do they sew me up, and what do they do with her, and what does my husband do? And then this doctor starts yelling at me again. we had a moment of kindness, like, I'm going to try and save your baby. And he starts screaming at me, actually. And he's like, look at your baby. Look at your baby. And he's telling the team, the neonatology team, I want her to look at her baby. I know, right? Normally I bawl a lot with this moment. But and he is telling them to slow down so that I get a chance to see her.
Okay.
And it's just a blur. And I'm like, my baby. And I'm like, what's happening? Like, why has she been taken out of the room? Because they're like, I want her to see her baby. And I'm like, wait, what? They never told us, what was going to happen. Does this mean she made it? Does this mean she's alive? I mean, obviously.
Or did she die?
Yeah.
I mean,
but it was this urgency. We ought to run. So that tells me she's still alive. And then they're taking her out of the room. I thought she was just going to stay in the room. I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's standard. But to us, it was like utter confusion, like just not knowing what. And Michael's like, what do I? And I'm like, go. He goes, you wanted to stay with me. And I'm a mess. Like, my blood pressure was through the roof, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
And my husband's
Were you at risk at that time then, after the baby was born?
Once the baby was born, yes. Apparently I was still. Okay. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. But it was more the blood pressure was abnormally high because of the emotion of the moment.
Yes.
And I'm just like, go with her, telling my husband, like, don't worry about me. And the doctor I was like, I'm feeling like I've had a few margaritas, And the doctor, the anesthesiologist is like, yeah, we just pumped you full of some, your
calming drugs.
Yeah.
Cocktail.
Yeah, because it was getting pretty high. And I'm like, honey, go. It's like, I'm not this, I've just had 3 margaritas. Life is...
Well, plus you just had major surgery.
Yeah.
You've been sliced from end to end.
Yeah, but, I didn't feel any of that.
Yeah.
It was just, he's like, yeah, you're getting pretty high there. We had to, bring you down. And so Michael takes off with her. And so Jeanna, bless her heart, is at home with Nathaniel. My mother-in-law is visiting to help us, and she's just in the hallway waiting. And I've never really thought to ask her perspective. And she's like, all I saw was, poof, my granddaughter.
Oh, my goodness.
And then my son. And I don't know what's happening. And so it was pretty she's just standing there waiting to help us grieve. She had made a little blanket for us to hold her during that final time. And so she's this other witness that doesn't have a clue what's happening inside that room. And she just sees everyone rushing out of the room, and she's like, what, And so she just takes off with him. And I don't know that part of the story. I'm just back in the room, not having a clue. Mm-hmm. And the nurses are coming up, and they're, congratulations on your beautiful baby girl. And I was like, it was really like, it was still a birth.
Yes.
And even though it was this really twisted, awful, nightmarish scenario, they were kind enough to say that. Congratulations for your baby. And I'm like, thanks. Like, I didn't know how to process that one because it was more like everyone you meet is like, I'm sorry. You know, like, I'm sorry. There was no moments of excitement, like, you're having a baby. And so when she said congratulations, I thought, well, that was weird but kind.
When did you know, Jeannie, that the baby had been born?
I couldn't tell you because I was at home with Nathaniel
Right.
and waiting for information. Yeah, yeah. And so I'm sure it was a bit later until there was a point because, you know, Angela's saying as far as this congratulations, but they're prepared for this short period of time that they're going to have with their baby before she dies.
Right.
And so
You're on pins and needles back at home.
Yeah, not knowing.
Not knowing, because I mean, even mother-in-law would have been our point of contact.
Well, and you were
spread
having
word.
margaritas and not able to text.
There was no phone
no.
near me. I was out. I was
No,
in
they
surgery.
were-
You know, I was in surgery, and Michael's run off because we, you know, they had said we got the tube down, and he's taken
so
off.
when did they say that?
I think it was right before he took off because they're like, look at your baby, and I'm like, what's happening? And they somehow.
That's when they got the tube down.
Yeah, they do it right there.
Right there when
Because
the
she
baby's
came
born.
out trying to breathe, but she couldn't. And babies at 25 weeks can breathe. Babies at 20-something weeks can breathe.
Wow.
They're trying to breathe. So she came out trying, and they put it down. She needed the assistance, obviously, very, very frail.
So the tube is just to help her
It's intubating you.
breathe. Intubating.
Yeah, it's like when, you know, people would get COVID and they get
breathe.
intubated. So it's a machine breathing for you.
Okay.
It's really not ideal at all, but we were willing to try. And the tube, which was not going to fit. And he said, later on we found out I got it down, but he said it was very, very tight and she might not have a voice.
How big was this tube?
I don't know. That's a great question. I know how big the little preemie diapers are. I have her little blood pressure cuff.
I would love to. I mean, if you think of a thread.
Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine it was that small because they said they only make them so small, and that was one of their reasons why she wouldn't make it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just was trying to wrap my head around that.
I can't. I mean, I have all her little mini things from being in hospital. Like she even had these little sunglasses, and they're fabric, but to protect their eyes because she was born with her eyes sealed. So we got to see her open her eyes later on.
Oh my goodness.
But her eyes were sealed, but they want to protect them from all the lights. They have little headsets to protect their little ears from all the noises of the machines. And so I had these little tiny, you know, they're like felt sunglasses that they put on her. I mean, everything was just
tiny,
smaller than.
Okay, we'll continue on with the story.
Yeah.
We'll get to the
Yes. I digress. So Michael rushes off. I'm in shock, and then of course I'm drugged to calm me down, and I get sent immediately to like a separate ward. I wasn't on the maternity ward. I was right outside the NICU, but I was by myself because I was dealing with the life or death thing. And so they put me on this thing called magnesium. They call it the mag, and it's pretty much like going to hell and back. It was terrible. They poison you to stop you from having seizures. And so they're filling you with poison to protect you. And it feels like you are on fire. It feels like you're burning up. And I had
Goodness.
It was awful. It was, I couldn't even move my head. I couldn't sleep. My poor husband, this is July 1st, right? So it's hot. He's wearing shorts and a t-shirt to the hospital and I'm like, the room is too hot. And he's turned it down to like, it doesn't go any longer. It's like an ice chest. He's like, Mom, can you bring me a jacket? And the nurses are trying to bring, he's on the sofa while I am sweating, like dying.
Yeah.
And he is shivering, trying to not complain because, you know.
You're the one in pain, yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't, you know. But bless his heart, it was awful. So I was not physically able to get up and meet her again or see her for a few days. They tried to get me up and put me in a wheelchair, and I was not capable because I was just totally. Did you come at that point to the hospital? Had you come in when I was on the magnesium and?
I think you were just having been off it.
Okay.
You were still. I hate to say in a stupor, but you know, your body was just limp. Yeah. You really weren't able to get up and do much.
Yeah.
The first time I was at the hospital was when us Naomi's
Oh,
angels.
yeah. This is a good story. So I was in this separate ward, and finally they took me off it because it was, like, we think she's okay. She's not going to have a seizure. It was a couple days later. Couldn't see straight. I couldn't even get up and meet her. And they finally were able to take me off it, started getting more mobile, and Michael wheeled me down to the NICU to meet her. And he had to very gently explain, well, we have to wash our hands here for this amount of time, and this is what this means. And he explained to me even, he said, I think I might have seen a photo, but he goes, she looks like she's black. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, because I just saw the blur. He's like, her skin is so thin that you can see all her blood vessels, and her skin looks black. And she had, in fact, was much smaller than the doctors had told us she was going to be. She was under a pound. So we've been told she was just over a pound. So a can of Coke is roughly the weight.
Size.
Yeah, the weight.
Okay.
The weight of her, just teeny, tiny.
So like 16 ounces?
She was
less than 16
13 ounces.
13 ounces.
Like 13 and change. Horrific. Like when I heard that, I couldn't be any more shocked, but I'm like, this isn't good. Like, I've read the stories. I know the minimum viability. This is not, even Dr. Juan in San Francisco, this is not doable. And so then you're like, now what happens? Like, are we going to have a severely disabled child, which I told God I would take her, that when I had that moment with him, however you give her to me, I want her. But please, I want to walk with her. I want to talk with her. I want to sing with her, but I will take her. I want you to know I just want to be her mom on earth, not just in heaven. And so, but the reality, the situation, what are we looking at? Fear. I was in a deep depression. It was very dark days. And Michael wheels me in, and I didn't even want to look at her. I was so scared because I didn't know what I was in for. And so I just remember feeling like God's, turning my head to look at her. And it was horrifying because she was just so perfect, like little fingernails and little eyelashes, but just tiny, too small. It's like, this is wrong. This is not how it's supposed to be. She's too little. And the fragility and the fear. I looked at her and I was afraid, and they would come and touch her, and I would just like, don't touch her, like she's gonna break. They would come and do their work on her, and I was just, I just wanted to vomit. Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, and then the fear of the pain she's in, and I struggle when a little bird gets run over. Like, that's just my heart. And I'm like, oh, this poor innocent little babe, what is she going through? And that's where these nurses and doctors are like, we got this. Well, how do you know she's in pain? Her heart rate goes up.
Oh,
and
okay.
we take, because she can't cry.
Right.
She can't even open her eyes.
Right.
So like, is she suffering? She's not suffering.
Oh my goodness.
When her heart rate goes up, we know she's in pain. That's what happens to you and I. We can just do the facial expressions and tell you. And so then there's this like, so then begins the journey of like, now we're on a countdown till she's going to die now. So now we just have to wait longer, because I'm like, this, no way she's going to make it. Like,
it was pins and needles for
every
weeks,
every
felt
day.
like.
Did they say that?
They said there's the milestones of the first 24 hours,
Right.
the first week, the second week. That's when we normally lose them.
Okay.
So it was every day, it was life and death. Every day. She got a tiny little tear on her skin. So her skin is like tissue paper, even thinner than that. Tiny little tear from
Like cellophane.
tiny little diaper, tiny little tear, like even just a little diaper scratched her. And it was the equivalent to you or I having a gash this big in our skin, except they can't sew her up. And so there was the gut's not ready to digest milk. And there's a thing called perforated bowel, where your intestines basically blow up, and that normally takes them. She had that twice. That happened to her 2 times. And we had the one surgeon in Reno. She's like, I refuse to do surgery on her. I've done it before. And they die. They bleed out. 3 drops of blood, they've bled out. And so she refused to do surgery, the life-saving surgery. And she said, the best we can do is put a little tube in her and hope it drains. Hope. Just start praying. And happened once, she got through it. And then a few weeks later, it happened again. This wound she had, that's probably going to take her. Like, they're basically preparing you for everything.
Yeah.
And so it was just this journey at this point where I'd like
and
to.
You're in the hospital still?
Yes, I was able to stay on. I moved out and went to the maternity ward, which was incredibly painful because everybody's there with their babies, except me. I've got my room all to myself. And so that was tough,
gosh,
but I
that's
understand horrible. And so I was just, that's when we started allowing, our pastor came in and met her, a few people. No, it was really just our pastor. And that's when I had been moved out of this ward and was just admitted as recovering from a C-section, supposed to have my baby. And Jeanna brought a handful of
These angels.
And I had told her, I said, it's just hard because like all I'm getting is I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. We're praying, I'm sorry. And it's like, but I still have a baby, and it was just such a mixed bag.
Well, even when we showed up, so I coordinated it that we all wore pink. We all got balloons. We were there to celebrate the birth. It didn't matter if God decided that he was going to take her home that night next week. We didn't know what God had planned. Right. But at this point, we were celebrating.
Yeah.
And, we wanted Angela to feel, and Michael, to feel the joy of giving birth to a baby girl.
Yeah.
And that was our whole intention. And yet the shock on their face.
Yeah.
They were shocked.
we didn't know what we were doing. At this point, it's like we're up and down. We were roller coasters. We didn't.
Flying by the seat of your pants.
Yeah. And so when, everyone's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And then you have friends come in with balloons and like, congratulations. It was like, great. It was a new emotion. Okay, let's celebrate. Like Jeanna said, while she's here, and I remember her coming in saying, she's here and she's your baby girl and we're going to celebrate. And I was like, okay, whatever you say, Mom, but it was this moment of just, we're going to take the joy out of the situation while we can. And she's still with us.
Yes.
Like you said, she's still got a heartbeat.
She's got a heartbeat.
We don't know what the future holds.
She was such a fighter.
Yeah.
From the womb on and through all of this.
Yeah. So she...
So after the second week, so obviously...
Yeah, 24 hours a week, 2 weeks.
During those milestones, were there any moments that the doctors came in and gave you encouragement or discouragement?
Yes. Most of the time, I just believe this as a general with all my experiences with those doctors in that field. Generally, they don't want to get your hopes up.
Right.
So it was always, we're going to...
Do you feel like it's a CYA type thing? Cover...
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it could be. And also just, honestly, I don't want to give you false hope.
Well, they don't want to be sued either.
Not sued, yeah. But they also, I don't want to tell you everything's going to be okay.
Right.
When it's probably not, because this is the smallest, one of the smallest surviving babies
ever.
So
not just in Reno.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. There was one that was, there's a few that are, a little bit smaller. You're talking an ounce at this point.
Right.
A little bit smaller. You've got these babies that are 1.5 pounds and all this. That's not too unusual, 2 pounds. But it was like, I read the stories. This doesn't happen. This doesn't happen. So, and then of course you're like, well, what are we looking at? What kind of a life? The chances of her not having a major disability, all that aside. So we're just working day by day. In fact, it was minute by minute. We're not looking at don't plan ahead because I'm starting to panic. Like she's made it. We need childcare, and I seriously
I love that.
I have a son at home. This is a mom, right? We plan
I
ahead.
think that's great.
And my good friend that's an emergency doctor. She's like, you plan minute by minute, hour by hour. It will take care of itself. She said, right now, don't worry about what's going to happen to your son and who's going to watch him because we couldn't put him in childcare because, God forbid, I bring a disease into the NICU, which is, childcare is rampant with that.
Exactly.
So that was a whole situation where we had to have people take care of him. So there was a lot of my husband and I not being able to be together at the hospital with her.
Right.
But that's when, my sister comes in, my parents come in. So there people started coming in, girlfriends are flying in, local friends.
So your sister is coming in from Australia.
Yes.
And so your parents. And
Yes.
what week did they come in?
My sister came within 24 hours of her. No, well, it takes longer to get there. But as soon as she found out we were delivering, they pretty much booked a trip.
Wow.
And they were on the plane. And so right when I came out of being on magnesium and went into the regular ward, they were there.
Oh, wow, that's
and my mother-in-law was here. And then my parents were itching to come, but we're like, just wait. Because we don't know what this looks like. They were on standby, basically. We're like, we've got my sister here. We've got mother-in-law here. We've got Jeanna. We've got other friends. Just wait and come when we'll tell you when to come. Because at this point, we got too many people. If anything, in town.
Yeah.
But, I'm thinking ahead as far as what are we going to do with our son and just day by day. And so back then, the good old days, we had a landline. And they were like, if we still had cell phones, but it was like, we will call you if something's wrong. And so God forbid anybody call us on that landline. It was my mother-in-law accidentally called us on the landline. We're like, because that basically means you need to come to the hospital now.
Okay.
So they gave us that warning and said it's never going to be, she's on breathing. So it's never going to be, oh, she just died. It's going to be, she's going to die. We're going to take her off. We'll wait till you get down here. So it was never going to be this. It's not going to be this emergency, obviously stay nearby. We were in the hospital every single day.
When did you
hours
go
and
home
hours.
then?
I think...
How many weeks?
I think it was a week was the most because they had to, there's a point where the insurance won't cover for me to be in the hospital. Yeah. And I remember begging and pleading and little tantrum. And because I couldn't drive myself, I was still recovering and I had to be on painkillers. And so I'm like, I can't walk to see my baby once I go home. And I need a chauffeur, which of course all of Naomi's angels helped out, and but I was like, please let me stay as long as I can, so I could get to see her every day. And then once I go home and I'm not here, it gets really complicated, and it was going to be complicated for a very long time. But like my one friend said, it'll work out. Don't worry, it's going to come together. Like just think about today, and that's how they told us.
We have personalities too that we like things a certain way, especially.
Oh yeah, planners.
You're
some of us are planners.
Yeah. Well, I call it structure.
Yeah.
We feel safe within structure.
Yeah.
And it's hard when you don't have that. Structure.
Like, let's see what tomorrow brings. No. I need to know what tomorrow's going to bring. So God definitely had some pretty big lessons there on the keys are out of your hands. Like you have no say in this, and you're just going to sit at home and figure out if you're going to be depressed, if you're going to wallow, if you're going to be inspired, if you're going to trust me. Choice. And there was a bit of everything. Oh my goodness. All the days, there were days that were very dark, and there were days that I didn't want to live.
And those were when she was...
But she wasn't doing well. And probably some days with hormones, you would go in.
Oh, yeah, you were postpartum on top of all this.
It was crazy. And still, trying to get milk for her, because anything you could do, I was helpless. I'm like, I have a baby and I don't even know how to change her diaper because she is we couldn't even, we just had to sit her in a little diaper because they're so tiny, and her skin was so fragile that even a diaper would have torn her. So it's like they had to teach me how to feed my daughter, and they had to teach me how to change her diaper, how to, How did you do that? Well, we couldn't, initially you couldn't even hold her. Like we couldn't hold her. We had to, and your instinct is to reach out and pat.
Right.
And that's like torture. And it was just lay your hands on her and put pressure, just light pressure. Warmth. Yeah, and that will bring her comfort. But stroking, incredibly painful. So we have to learn these things. And the feeding, it was obviously she had a feeding tube, but she couldn't handle it. But then when she was off her, perforated bowel, we called them milk popsicles. And you'd get a Q-tip, but obviously not the fibers, and you would dip it in milk. And then she would just sit there with her little tongue and just
like a bird.
Like a bird.
Like a bird.
In fact, that's how I describe her when I wrote about her, was like a little featherless bird. Beautiful. And she would just lick the little, and then we were trying, so I'm kind of hopping all over the place, but we tried to get the main thing is getting her off the ventilator. because that can cause a lot of the damage with the eyes. When a lot of these preemies from the 80s and 70s and 90s are blind, it's because of the ventilators. So they wanted her off stat. Like that's our biggest obstacle, is getting her off the ventilator. And that was a big day. I went in with my sister-in-law. She was visiting. And
how many weeks was that?
I want to say it was very controversial because it was very soon. It was probably 3 to 4 weeks. I kept a diary of everything, but I've yet to read it because it's very emotional. It's a lot. But I kept a diary of, we tried to take her off this day. And I want to say it was 3 weeks or something, 3 or 4 weeks, which, again, it was when this doctor was on duty, Dr. Yep. And he's like, none of the other neonatologists will back this up. They think I'm crazy. But I honestly think...
But he wasn't yelling at you
at
that moment.
Yelling. He got kind. Adore the man. We have photos with him that he saved. God did, God did, but he gave her a chance. He was willing to take a chance on her. But he was like, I'm going to put her on you. This is controversial. This is not what we normally do. Most hospitals would never do this. But there's so much science behind baby on mum, and for you and for her. And we're going to try it. And I honestly think he had nothing to lose. I honestly believe she's probably going to die anyway. So let's try this. And there's a very powerful video of me holding her for the first time. It's on YouTube, millions and millions of views, and it was just very emotional, terrifying.
I'd like to get that link.
Yeah.
We can put that in the comments.
Yes, absolutely. I'll send you that. But I was just like, I'm not qualified to hold this baby. Like I was just terrified. And
you can see the fear in her
face. I'm like this, like just, very stiff and scared that I'm going to break her. Because up to this point, I just very gently touched her. And they were insistent. And there was a commitment. You have to hold her for a minimum of this many hours. So no water, no trips to the restroom, nothing like that, because it's a big thing to put her on you. And there's requiring a lot of people. I believe there was... I can't even remember. There was a group of people there to put her on me and monitor the whole situation and listen to her beeps and if something was to happen. And there was a few times she passed on me as far as she stopped breathing. And they had to come in and resuscitate. So that's what we were living with, this day-to-day
oh, my goodness,
holding your baby. And so this first time I held her, I texted my friend in Texas and I said, hey, today I held a miracle. It's like, this hasn't happened, and I got to hold her. Like, how special does God think I am? Although it was terrifying, but I got to hold her, and she's alive, and it's been 3-4 weeks, and it was just mind-blowing.
How beautiful.
And it was like, why did you pick us, God? Why did you pick us? Like, really? All the odds were stacked against us, and you picked us to be a part of this miracle. We picked you, this doesn't happen. This is not supposed to happen. Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No apologies.
They wouldn't let Dad hold her for a while. Nobody else was allowed to hold her, but Dad wasn't allowed there was no benefit apparently. There is benefit, but
was it considered being held because she was laying on you?
Yeah.
Because you put your arms?
So it's called kangaroo care, and she's on me and I hold her. And you just hold her for a few hours and you try and breathe and then you relax. And they say it is just so beneficial to the baby. And it's when the mother holds the baby.
It must have been beneficial for you too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was very stiff and sore because I was like, but you learn to grow into it. And you try to not freak out when the alarms go off. But there's probably has to do with the hormones and the milk and everything. And I remember being so scared every time I did it. And the nurse is like, I just want you to know that after you've held her, all her vitals are super chill for like the next 24 hours. So I'm like, well, why? And she's like, I don't know. We can't explain it because it's a process getting her on. And so eventually, once she got stronger, Dad was able to hold her as well. And so we would take turns. He would take off. He worked at the university and he would take off at lunch and zip down and spend an hour with her on his chest, and I'd be at home with my son, and then we'd trade out, and I'd come to the hospital. So it was a lot of juggling. But we, we're starting to get, like, the NICU was starting to become a routine, and it wasn't so scary. We were familiar with the staff. And so then that progressed to
The next,
what happens next.
Yes.
Like, do we make it out of the NICU?
Yeah. So we are going to pause here,
Okay.
and we'll have our next episode. And I just want to thank you again for sharing this. And if we had an audience, there'd be not a dry eye on the place, because
That's
amazing.
happened.
Yeah. So thank you again, Angela and Jeanna, so much. And can't wait to continue the story.
Thanks, Leanne.